Underfoot, The Gutter King, Book 1. Chapter 5, Scavenger's Wage. The Warren woke him with a cough. Not his own, the kit's, the one he'd flagged on his way to sleep. A wet rattle 2 shelves over that his ears had filed under morning's problems, and his dreams had apparently kept auditing all night. Ben was up and moving before he remembered deciding to be, and that at least was the same in every world. The kit was 6, damn fussed and furious about the attention, and the rattle was loud in her little bellows of a chest. In his old life, this was a nebulizer and a referral. In this one, it was Ben on his knees by a sleeping shelf with his ear against a tiny back, running the differentials by sound and by sight, and there his strange new eyes earned their keep again, because the kit's ember burned strong and steady, with no black threads in it, only a stormy gray fog low in the lungs that he had learned on 2 nights of practice to read as the body's own weather. Wet, not poisoned. Angry, not dying.
Steam.
He said to the dam.
Kettle by her shelf, morning and night. Tent a cloth over, and she stays off the cold stone. Put her up where the cook pit's warmth goes.
The dam looked at him, then past him, seeking someone with authority. Granny Sorrel materialized at his shoulder with the silence of a cat and the opinion density of a Supreme Court. She put her own ear to the kit's back, listened, sniffed the kit's breath with her whole face folding around the project, and delivered her verdict to the room.
Steam.
She said as if Ben had not spoken.
And up off the stone.
That's what I...
And a spoon of pine honey.
Granny Sorrel added, with the sweet finality of an artillery strike,
which the scribe tongue does not know about, because scribes read leaves and grannies read kits.
She patted the dam's arm. Then to Ben, in a mutter pitched precisely for him,
the fog sits low in that one every wet season. It climbs by week's end, then it breaks. If it goes crackly, you come get me.
Crackles. She staged pneumonia by ear, this cataract-blind ancient in a sewer, and she just handed him a case history with the pine honey. Ben inclined his head the way he'd once done to a 40-year charge nurse.
Yes, Granny.
She squinted her clouded eyes at him, one to the other.
You'll do, maybe, if somebody feeds you.
And she was gone, spindle quick, leaving Ben with the growing suspicion that Mender Ott's book was going to be the second most useful medical resource in this warren. The problem of being fed turned out to have a name, and the name was Scab. He ran Mara's foraging lines, a lean, quick ratkin with a notch-eared squint and the fastest tally fingers Ben had ever seen, who could count a basket of roots at a glance, and had decided on sight that Ben was a hole in the Warren's arithmetic. He wasn't wrong exactly. That was the annoying part. 40 souls, 6 spears, a war coming, and a stranger at the soup pot. Scab's numbers all pointed one direction.
Warren eats what the Warren earns,
he announced at the morning's share-out to the air above Ben's head.
Mender's shelf gets a mender's share. When there's mending,
A pause tallied to the grain.
been no mending today, but steam and granny talk.
Scab.
Mara said from her corner, without looking up.
I'm saying he can earn.
Scab's tail flicked.
South galleries, crock runs, silt beds, good pickings, since nobody's dared them all season.
The Warren went very slightly still, in the way Ben was learning meant everyone knows something the new man doesn't. Tusk from his pillar turned his head. It was the most Ben had ever seen him move before noon.
I'll take the silt beds.
Ben said into the stillness, because the fastest way through a test is to volunteer for it, and because, the thought arriving with a guilty, welcome warmth, he had been 2 days in a hole full of patients, and some newly grown-in part of him wanted badly to go look at something with his own strange eyes.
Kit comes too.
Nib had materialized from somewhere overhead, upside down again, gravity apparently being a thing that happened to other people.
I know the silt beds. I've been twice with Seth. I know where the big shells sit. Also, if you die, I can run back fast and tell everyone how...
Nib,
Said half the Warren.
that you died bravely.
Nib finished with dignity, right side up now, already wearing his carry bag. Mara looked at Tusk. Tusk looked at Ben. Something passed between the three of them that was more binding than paper.
Bring back my mender,
Mara said. It took Ben half the morning to realize she hadn't said the stranger. The South Gallery sang. That was the only word he had for it. Beyond the safe cracks, the tunnels opened into a run of old freight vaults where water moved wide and slow, and the whole reach hummed with life his eyes couldn't stop cataloging. Eel embers weaving under the black glass of the water, the tiny hot pinpricks of swallows' nests high on a light shaft, moss in 6 colors his old world had no names for. His nose sorted it all into paragraphs. His hands wanted to gather everything. The work was real work. Silt beds meant wading the shallows and grubbing elbow-deep for freshwater mussels the size of his 2 fists. Meat for the pot, shell for Granny Sorrel's powders, and, when his fingers learned the trick of it, the occasional gray-pink seed pearl that made Nib shriek about being rich. Tusk stood hip-deep in the current the whole time like a bridge piling that had opinions about the horizon, and said nothing, and missed nothing. Ben was 2 hours into the most honest wage of his second life, arms aching, bag heavy, when the water song changed. His eyes caught it before his mind did. The eel embers, which had been weaving lazy and scattered all morning, were gone. Not fled, but hiding, dimmed down to coals under stones. And one new ember was coming up the channel. Long, slow, not hiding at all.
Out of the water.
Ben said, calm as a Sunday.
Nib now, up the ledge.
Nib blessedly argued with everything except the tone. He was on the ledge with his bag before the ripple showed, a back like a saw blade breaking the black glass, 4 feet of sluice eel with a generations-old grudge, and a head the size of Ben's forearm, coming for the splash and the muscle blood in the shallows where Ben stood. What happened next happened in the eel's world, which was fast, and in Ben's sight, which was faster. The lunge telegraphed itself in a brightening of the ember, a half-second before the water moved. Ben was already not where he had been. Vermin-race, 4 feet of wiry body doing exactly what it was built for, and the muscle knife was already turning in his grip, and the chart notation hung on the eel's glow, plain as a monitor, the bright line of life running shallow behind the jaw hinge. He put the knife where his eyes told him and leaned on it with his whole small weight. The water thrashed white, then pink, then quiet. The gallery's 1,000 small embers stayed hidden a 10 count longer, then began, cautiously, to rekindle. The whole reach exhaling around him. Tusk waded over, looked at the eel, looked at the knife work behind the jaw, and delivered, in a voice like a door in a cathedral, his first recorded opinion on any subject.
Good soup.
You have slain bull sluice eel, level 7. Level up. You are now level 5. Skill rank increased. Surgeon's cut, uncommon, rare. The eye finds the seam. The hand does not argue.
He didn't even get bit.
Nib was dancing on the ledge, incandescent, already composing the telling of it.
It went whoosh, and he wasn't even there. And then one poke, one tusk. Did you see?
Saw,
Said Tusk, shouldering the eel like a duffel bag. Ben stood in the pink-washed shallows, breathing hard, waiting for the shakes that had followed the terrier and the grubs. They came, but smaller, politer. The eel had been trying to eat him. The meat would feed 40, and his hands had done exactly what 8 years and 2 worlds had trained them to do. He examined his own conscience with a clinician's thumb and found the bruise fading. That was either healing, he thought, or the first line of a different kind of chart. He filed it, the genuinely useful worry, next to the ceiling that was really a door, and picked up his muscle bag. They came home heavy, eel, mussels, shell, Nib's 4 seed pearls, and a knotted rag,
We're rich, we're aristocrats. I want a hat.
and a folio of pressed cuttings Ben had gathered under Granny Sorrel's standing orders from the moss gallery, including a fat-frilled fungus his nose had flagged so insistently that he'd taken half the colony. Granny Sorrel turned one frill of it in the tallow light, sniffed, and went stiller than Tusk.
Bloodcap.
she said.
Wet season bloodcap. First I've seen since the mist year.
Her clouded eyes came up to him, and for the first time there was no argument anywhere in her face.
You know what this does, Scribe Tongue?
No, my nose just wouldn't shut up about it.
Stops bleeding.
She said.
Inside bleeding. Birthing bed bleeding.
Her hands had gone careful as a surgeon's around the frills.
I traded a winter's stores for 2 dried caps. The year my daughter.
She stopped, folded the sentence away where she kept whatever else was in it.
Your nose.
She said gruff again.
Can have my share of the pine honey.
Across the chamber, Scab watched the eel go onto the spit, and the shell into the stores, and the blood cap into Granny Sorrel's most locked box, and did his fast arithmetic, and found Ben could see it land, that the stranger column had moved. It didn't soften him. It did the opposite of soften him. Some private ledger going darker even as the warrens got brighter, and Ben flagged that too, the way he'd once flagged rattles in small chess. Morning's problem, filed by ear. The share out that night put a mender's portion in Ben's bowl without anyone saying anything at all. He was halfway through it, nib against his side narrating pearls, when Seth came down the entry crack at a dead sprint with his ears flat, and the whole warren went quiet before he said a word, because everyone had heard that gate before.
Chalk.
Seth panted.
New chalk, past the blue moss. Catcher mark, the double slash, the one that means root.
He gulped air.
They marked our water, Mara. They mark the way to our own front door.
In the silence, Ben heard Grey Mara set down her cup, the small click of pottery on the stone landing like a verdict, and far above them all, muffled through 40 feet of world, the city bells began to ring a pattern he hadn't heard before. Not the hours, something slower, something that repeated.
Bells.
Nib whispered, pearls forgotten, pressed suddenly small against Ben's arm.
Why are they ringing the long bells?
Granny Sorrel answered from the fire, in the voice of a woman who had heard them ring before, twice, and buried what the ringing cost her both times.
Purge week, Kit.
She said.
Say your name to the wall so it remembers you. Purge week starts at dawn.